Hey y'all, it's Angela coming at you again. You know, me and my friend Hamara were just talking. We were saying how crazy it is that there's all these different types of life out there on the planet. Hamara was saying that she can barely keep her closet organized, so how do all these scientists classify and organize all the different organisms? I was telling her it's all about taxonomy. See, taxonomy is just how biologists classify and group living things based on their similarities. You do this too. You don't just throw all your clothes in one big pile. Well, maybe some of you do. You have your sock drawer and your shirt drawer and your drawer for pants and all that. All life is chunked into 6 kingdoms. This is like having all your clothes go into 6 different drawers. I think the best way to compare these kingdoms is to make one huge beast of a table, so let's do it. The 6 kingdoms are eubacteria, archaebacteria, protists, fungi, plants, and animals. So make that go across the top. And let's compare 4 different characteristics of these guys and give an example. So down the side, let's compare the cell type, the cell structures, the number of cells, and mode of nutrition. The last row is for examples. So let's look at pictures of these organisms. Here's a picture of the procs. Really, it's just 2 types of bacteria. They look a lot alike if you ask me. But remember, they're in 2 completely different kingdoms. That means they're as different as plants and animals are. Bacteria includes the E. coli that live in our gut and the bacterium that cause strep throat. For archae, we'll call them extreme bacteria. These guys live in crazy hot and acidic environments. So let's call them extreme bacteria. So here are some protists. Look at how different they are. You can see that some protists are these cool little microscopic guys, but then some are huge. Look how big the giant kelp is. Okay, here's some fungi. These organisms are mold that gets on our bread and also mushrooms and yeast. You can see that yeast is one big cell. So here are some plants. We all know that trees and grass are plants, but don't forget about mosses and conifers and evergreens. Finally, here are some animals. Don't forget, not all animals are big and hairy. Most of the members of the animal kingdom are actually insects. Plus, there are sponges, jellyfish, and worms too. All right, back to the table. Let's look at the last row. All right, for cell type, this one's pretty easy. The first 2 kingdoms are the only ones that are prokaryotes. The other 4 are all eukaryotes. Proc, euc, euc. And what do these words even mean? It really just means, do they have a nucleus or not? So let's look at a number of cells. All prokaryotes are unicellular. So let's show that on our table. Plants and animals are multicellular. Of course, protists are all over the place, so some are multicellular while others are single-celled. Fungi are a little funky here. Yeast is unicellular, but all the other fungi are multicellular. Okay, so let's move on to cell structure. So you with me? All right, prokaryote cells lack a nucleus. All of the rest of us eukaryotes are made of cells with a nucleus. Well, that's how I remember the difference between the words. Prokaryote and eukaryote, euks have nukes. All eukaryotes have a nucleus in their cells. Prokaryotes don't. And when I say prokaryote, all that means is bacteria. Euks are everything else. That's it. So we know bacteria have no nucleus. Let's talk about the next kingdom listed, Protista. If you ask me, the protist kingdom is all over the place. Some protists act just like animals, but they're not animals. And some are very fungus-like, but they don't really count as fungi. You'd think that some protists are plants, but technically they're not. So as we fill out our table, we're going to be writing some do, some don't, a lot. Starting right here with cell parts. All right, some protists have cellulose cell walls, just like plants, but some don't. Also, some of these guys have cilia all around them for movement. Fungi are euks, so they have a nucleus, and they have cell walls made of chitin. Plants are euks, so they have a nucleus, and they have cell walls that are made of cellulose. Plants also have chloroplasts that they use during photosynthesis. And finally, animals. Animals are euks and do not have cell walls. Okay, so let's talk now about mode of nutrition. Do these guys make their own food, or do they eat other organisms? Well, fungi and animals are heterotrophs. We get our energy from other organisms. Plants are autotrophs. They make their own food. Since protists can be plant-like or animal-like, we'll put autotroph and heterotroph. That's true of both the bacteria kingdoms. Some do photosynthesis. Those extreme bacteria can use chemicals directly, and other bacteria are consumers and decomposers. Well, there you go, y'all. All living things put into a nice and neat little box. Well, except for protists. They're all over the place. And some fungi are unicellular, but most aren't. And all prokaryotes are always autotrophs, except for when they're not. So take a look at the table. There are some cool similarities and cool differences. Well, sports fans, that's enough out of me. Till next time, it's Angela saying, if you remember all these kingdoms, you'll be a fun guy.